Hi everybody, this is Sherry Arshad and you're watching All of Your Business. In All of Your Business, we talk about your favorite topics about economy and especially the prices of the daily commodities, including electricity, inflationary pressures, and most importantly, the fuel prices. Let's speak to our guest, Mr. Mitab Hidar. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Alaikum assalam.
How are you, sir?
I am fine.
Sir, my first topic that I'm going to talk about with you is that the government of Pakistan is all set to bring more public funds under Treasury Single Account. So, what does this mean in simpler words, and how it is going to impact us?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you very much for having me. Actually, it is the overall reform process undertaken by the government to ensure fiscal consolidation. The government of Pakistan and the Parliament has approved the Public Finance Management Act 2019. And under this act, whatever is surplus in any account of the public entity, it must be deposited into the Federal Consolidated Fund or in the Treasury Single Account.
Right.
So it is the responsibility of the public entities under the Public Finance Management Act to comply with this legal obligation.
Right.
It is mandatory. But there are certain public entities in hundreds of numbers who have preferred to keep the surplus amount outside the Treasury Single Account, and they have kept into the commercial bank accounts. So till now, more than 200 public entities have deposited their amount into the Treasury Single Accounts. But there are still a large number of public entities which have not yet complied with this legal obligation. So it is very important. Because why it's important? Because all these commercial banks provided the same amount back to the government at higher rates. So if this money is deposited within the Treasury Single Account or the Federal Consolidated Fund, the government doesn't need to get financing from the commercial bank at the higher rates.
Right.
So it is a double-edged sword. So government has committed a major reforms that all the money belonging to these public entities will be deposited back into the Treasury Single Account in order to reduce the reliance on borrowing from the commercial bank at higher rates.
Right. Sir, Pakistan has set new company registration record. So this definitely sounds like a very good news for Pakistan. So how do you see it?
It is a good news because we have seen that total number of companies registered in Pakistan is hovering around 300,000, close to 300,000. And we have seen in April that more than 4,000 companies have been registered with the Security and Exchange Commission of Pakistan. But SCCP is also involved for the cleaning of the dormant companies. This kind of registration shows that there is a rampant increase in the startups and there is increasing economic activities. So that's why we always assume that it's a good sign that economic activities are picking up the pace and moving towards the desired targets. And it shows that now there is an increasing the room and space for the startups so that the newcomers are coming into the economic spheres of life and they are registering their new startups and companies in Pakistan.
Right. So it is also going to boost employment opportunities for the people.
Of course, when there will be increased economic activities, it will result into creating more job opportunities in Pakistan.
So it's just a random question that is popping in my mind, and that is, given the current economic climate of the world and how it is impacting in Pakistan, do you think it would be very challenging to start any startup or business in Pakistan or maybe any other part of the world?
Actually, it's more difficult in case of Pakistan because there is a need of increasing access to finance for the SMEs,
Mhm.
especially the small and medium enterprises, and for the startups, because at the initial stage you need financing, and without financing it's very hard to implement or execute any new idea to translate into an viable economic project and to create more job opportunities. With access to finance and with increasing number of registered companies, it's showing that we are moving towards the inclusion on account of having access to the finance. And State Bank of Pakistan will have to intervene to ensure access to finance, especially to the vulnerable segments of the society.
Right. Sir, Prime Minister of Pakistan, Shehbaz Sharif, has approved the tax litigation system. So, can you define and tell our audience in a very simpler manner that what tax litigation system mean?
Actually, there is a need to have an authentic data on the centralized litigation management system. And now it has been put in place. Recently, Prime Minister of Pakistan has established a task force under the chairmanship of former FBR's bureaucrat. And now, because there is a perception that more than 4 trillion rupees are stuck up into litigation at different stages. And now that this steering committee and task force has been assigned to get the authentic data, that how much cases are pending at the Supreme Court level, how much cases are pending at higher courts as well as tribunal level, in order to ensure that these litigations are settled or evolved in a smooth manner. And there is also need to ensure an alternate dispute resolution mechanism, because on one side it is the responsibility of the FBR to register such cases where they have sufficient proofs and evidence so that they can be proved into the court of law. And on the other side, there is a need that the taxpayers must also comply with the tax laws and regulations to ensure that they must pay the due taxes.
Right.
So it is the responsibility of the both sides, tax officials as well as the FBR officials, that they must come up with such cases that can be proved in the court of law, and they shouldn't frame any frivolous
Right.
cases based on without having any evidence or any proof that can be proved in the court of law.
Right. So I have two very important topics regarding power consumers and the power developments. So there were news recently that power consumers to get rupees 1.75 per unit relief over 3 months. So if it happens, do you see? Does that mean that we are going to see the decline in the electricity bills? Number one, and number two, do you think if this is the case, the numbers are not going to revise? For example, the bill is not going to be the relief. I hope the relief is not just for a short term.
Actually, this relief has been given by the regulator on account of reduced obligation of capacity charges, because the baseline tariff has been put in place from January to from this calendar year. Earlier, it was revised or in place on the basis of the financial year. It was done in July. Now it has been done on the in the first month of this calendar year. The capacity charges have reduced, and this reduced electricity bill will be transferred to the consumers on the basis of this reduced capacity charges. If the capacity charges are going to increase, then this tariff reduction will be reversed.
Right.
So this is mainly because of the reduced capacity charges for the last quarter, and it depends how much it's going to increase or decrease in the coming quarters. And there are also, we need to understand that once there's a baseline tariff which is being determined on annual basis, but monthly fuel price adjustment also plays a critical role, and quarterly tariff adjustment also plays important role for determining or
Right.
ascertaining the electricity bills. So it depends on multiple factors, but basically the thumb line is that if the overall cost of energy is reduced, then it will help to reduce the electricity bills as well.
Right. Sir, Pakistan has assured IMF of ending subsidy for 200 unit power consumers. Sir, would you like to explain this, that we are not going to enjoy the subsidy anymore?
Actually, under the existing system, the government of Pakistan provides subsidy up to 200 units. Whoever, any household which utilizes less than 200 units on monthly basis, its rates are reduced, and this subsidy is provided to the consumers because their tariff is much less than on the average. Their tariff is probably around 11 or 13 rupees per unit, and around 60% consumers are enjoying this kind of subsidy. But this is untargeted subsidy. Now, under the IMF program, we have agreed with the IMF that this doling out of subsidy, which is untargeted, from January 2027, they are going to provide a targeted subsidy, and the subsidy will be provided to all those who are beneficiaries of the Benazir Income Support Program. And all those who are living under the poverty line, they will be given this subsidy amount.
Right.
The government is just devising different mechanism
Right.
how it's going to disburse this amount. But from January 2027, this subsidy mechanism, the changes will be put in place, and a targeted subsidy will be provided to the BISP beneficiaries.
Right, right. Thank you so much, sir.
Always welcome.
That was all for today. If you want us to talk more about the electricity rates or the fuel prices, do let us know in the comments. Till then, keep watching All of Your Business. This is Shahryar signing out.